welcome back. You're still watching Daybreak, and it's now 25 minutes to 7 a.m. My name is Sam Gituku, and we're here in studio with different panelists who will be introducing shortly. And I want to quickly just take you through again through the dailies on what's happening on the front page of the Daily Nation. You'll see the story of more Kenyans sinking into poverty, according to a report that says that on average, 53% is the proportion of men, women, and children of all ages living in poverty in all its dimensions, according to national definitions of 2018. And you'll see how the proportion of births attended by skilled health professionals has increased between 2014 and 2016 from 61.8% to 70.2%. Then the question of politics, Raila accuses DP Ruto of divisive politics. He was in Kajiado where he was attending a funeral and accused, Deputy President William Ruto and his allies of advancing divisive politics. We'll be touching on that. Then you'll see the story of the week. Linturi spent second night in police cells as it's expected the Chief Magistrate in Nakuru will be making a decision on what should happen, even as the prosecution side has asked for 7 more days to continue detaining Linturi to conclude investigations and formally charge the senator. And of course, you will see the stories on the front page of the Standard, similar to what's on the Daily Nation. Ruto feels the heat over Linturi, whips allies, and Deputy President William Ruto moves to tame hate speech in UDA rallies as court detains senator overnight. Again, the magistrate to give more orders today, and there's different quotes that we'll also be listening to on what the Deputy President has been saying about this later. Then big battle for parties bill in Senate today. A fresh showdown looms in the Senate of the controversial coalition's bill as members convene for a special sitting. We'll shortly be looking at what the standing, or rather the order paper is looking like as that bill that was enacted or that was passed by the National Assembly last week makes its way to the Senate. Of course, so many processes to be undertaken to ensure that it's considered through the legislative procedures of Parliament. And now I want to introduce the panelists. We have Jonathan Mweke, who is a former Deputy Governor of Nairobi. Good morning and Happy New Year.
I'm fine, thank you. Happy New Year to you.
Great to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Yes. How have you been?
I've been fine. 2022 off to a good start. So looking forward to good things this year.
We are 11 days into it. Then on this side we have Senator of Murang'a, Irungu Kangata. Good morning.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to come here. Let me take this opportunity first to thank the people of Murang'a County. We have been having UDA rallies and caravans in the entire county for the last several weeks. We were at a place called Mugoiri Ward in Kiharu, and then we went to Kegumo, in Upper Kegumo, that is Kenyona and Kangari wards. We are happy that UDA is strong in Murang'a County. We shall continue with that endeavor to popularize UDA.
I was just checking on you, but it's okay. Then we have Gladys Wanga, the woman representative for Homa Bay County. Good morning.
Good morning, Sam, and good morning to all our viewers, wherever they're listening to us this morning.
We missed you yesterday. You left us in the lights, Komata.
That's why I'm here today.
All right, it's good to have you here.
And
of course, you'll shortly be joined by Dr. Chris Omalo, the Member of Parliament for Kiminini. He's actually in the building, and it's pretty interesting to see that today, legislators, but also hoping to be governors. Him in Murang'a, yourself in Homa Bay, Jonathan Mweke in Kitui, and Dr. Chris Omalo is hoping to be governor of Trans Nzoia, unless that has changed. He'll be telling us about that. But let's begin by looking at what's going on in the country. And I'm sure you've been seeing this conversation about the arrest of Senator Linturi and now the directive to have Richard Onyonka, the Member of Parliament for Kitutu Churches South, investigated. And we also heard from the Deputy President yesterday calling on the members of UDA, or rather, the members or affiliates or affiliated to UDA to really watch on what they say at the podium. Senator Kangata, what do you make of these proceedings and what has been happening at a time that is just 7 months to the general election?
Yes, from where I sit, I think it was a very unfortunate remark by my colleague, Mr. Linturi, and definitely the law needs to take its course. That position has been reinforced by our party leader, Dr. Deputy Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, William Ruto, that we do not defend anyone who utters anything that may appear to divide Kenyans. Be that as it may, Article 27 of the Constitution provides that everyone should be treated equally before the law. We have seen instances where the leader of the opposition, Mr. Raila Odinga, tell young people to fire and to prepare themselves with guns and bullets. No action has been taken against him. We have seen Governor Kememia, who is aligned himself to Raila Odinga, make references to the same term, Madoadoa, and no action has been taken against him. The same applies to several other persons, and we don't see any action from the DPP, from the investigative agencies in this republic, and therefore one sees a sense of misapplication of the law, and from where we sit, we would want everyone to be treated equally, because we do not condone any divisive action or words from any party.
Is there any unfair treatment that has befallen Senator Linturi that you would point at, or any member affiliated to UDA?
To the extent that he has been taken to court, I think that one we must respect, because it is under the law or under the Constitution. If anyone who does anything that appears wrong should be taken to court. But the point is, how come they are not arresting Raila Odinga when he...
What exactly did he say from your recollection?
Yeah, he told the young people whom he was addressing to look for guns, to look for bullets, and to fire. Yeah, he repeatedly said vijana fire. For me, that is a form of incitement. I know some people may argue that is what we call metaphorical language, but if you accept you are speaking in a figurative manner, the same argument definitely can be proffered by Senator Meru. So we need to say, okay, this kind of language, whether it is figurative, is illegal. And therefore you take action against all politicians, not just going after people who are aligned to William Ruto.
Senator, you just said that it's unfortunate Senator Linturi made those sentiments. Then you're saying also the interpretation of figurative speech may also be extended to what he said. Do you really believe in that?
No, I didn't say that. I'm saying Raila Odinga should also be arrested. I'm saying Governor Kimemia should also be arrested. Yeah, Governor Kimemia used the word madoado. Yeah, he was not arrested. Raila Odinga told young people fire and to have guns and bullets. He was not arrested. So I'm just trying to deconstruct a potential defense these two guys from Kieleweke side may proffer, which is they were using what we call a figurative language. And I'm trying to argue, no, if the same argument could not be hoisted in favor of Linturi, the same notion also of being arrested should apply as against Raila Odinga and the governor for Nyandaro. Okay,
and I will be listening to Honorable Wanga, who may have attended some of those meetings where the former Prime Minister says vijana fire. But also, good morning, Dr. Chris Omalwa, and thank you so much for making time for us. Happy New Year. Have you lost your voice?
I'm trying to recover it, so...
Well, it's the campaign season, so yes. It can get pretty difficult. But Honorable Wanga, so we're looking at this, and of course you may respond to what Senator Kangata is saying there, but what do we do? Because it's that season, Kenyans love to call it the silly season, forgive my language. But what do we do? Because 7 months can be such a long time if the flare-ups are to be anything to witness at the political rallies.
Thank you, Sam. And I'm really shocked at what Honorable Kangata is trying to say here. And I think taking Kenyans for not being very clever, you know. And this is what I think the Tanga Brigade have mastered it, you know, believing that Kenyans, you know, don't see anything, excuse me, don't know anything, and they can just come with any lie. So first of all, after uproar from Kenyans, they have now come to apologize for what Senator Linturi said. Yet, they were seated at the very same rally, Nobody, after Linturi spoke, bothered to come up and say, listen, what Senator Linturi has said is not in line with what we believe in. And the rally went on and they kept on. In fact, when Senator Linturi finished speaking, he went ahead to hug the deputy president. And you know, they hugged, and it was a sign of approval for what he had said. Because if the DP did not approve of what Senator Linturi had said, he would even have returned him to the stage to go and clarify what he meant by what he was saying. But he went ahead and hugged him and, you know, shook his hand heartily, you know, sat him down like, what you have said is truly what we agreed you should say. And so this pretense that, you know what...
But should we judge the deputy president for what we see him receiving the senator for what he says? Because he actually spoke yesterday and condemned those remarks.
Only after uproar by Kenyan Sam. If I was at a rally and my allies spoke things I didn't believe in, if they came back to greet me, I would tell them, I would whisper to them, you know, what you said was not very good, and we would quickly, you know, confer and see how that matter can be corrected. But they didn't do that. The rally went on as if nothing had happened. If it were not for Kenyans coming up and saying, do not bring us back madoa-doa politics, then it would be a problem. And remember, the same Deputy President William Ruto has been quoted in the past as saying some people should move away from certain places, you know, and so on. And this is on record. If you see a video that has been circulating a while back in an interview with Jeff Koinange, the Deputy President was saying, you know, Kitale, which is home to Dr. Omalo, he was saying, no, these communities do not belong here. These communities don't belong here. They should actually move out. So this is a belief that he has had all along. And if you look at the history of how things have gone, and we thought he had probably grown out of it, but it looks like they are still where they were. And coming to the issue of...
before you do, I think it's fair to just listen to what the Deputy President said so that we are pretty in context. Listen.
Senator Linturi made a statement which he regrets, a statement that had inappropriate language, and Senator Linturi has apologized. He has withdrawn the statement, and he has unconditionally apologized to the people of Kenya. And we want to say, going forward, and I want to tell members of my team, the Hustler Nation, that all of us must mind our language. All of us must be careful about what they say so that we can unite this country, because that is what the Hustler Nation believes in.
Honorable Wanga, as you respond to what Senator Kangata spoke about Raila and Vijana Fire, doesn't that statement by the Deputy President satisfy you to really tell you what he believes in and what he wants his troops to follow?
Oh, in fact, this is what he should have said at the Eldoret rally. This is what he should have woken up and said at the Eldoret rally, if he truly believed in it. But this is now a PR exercise trying to deal with, you know, too little, too late, trying to deal with what Senator Linturi said. He spoke after Senator Linturi at the Eldoret rally. This is, if he truly did not believe in those sentiments, this is what he should have woken up and started by saying that, Senator Linturi, some of the things you have said in this rally are not what we believe in. But this is coming after uproar by Kenyans. If this is what they believed in, this is what they should have done. Not yesterday, not a minute after. This is what they should have done at the Eldoret rally. Then this would not have been a source of debate. Then coming to the point, you know, the weak protection, the weak defense that, you know, Raila Odinga said youth fire. Really, Raila Odinga, when he said, I want you people to take up your arm and your bullet, and he said, your arm is your ID card and your voter's card, and firing is voting. He went ahead and explained every word. Why is it even an issue? All of us use figurative language in our politics, and we go ahead and explain it. So this is just to say, oh, we've been caught, you know, I don't want to say what down, but we have been caught, whatever down, and now we want to look for a place to hide. But you're hiding in the shadows of, you know, in Luo sometimes they say you're hiding in the shadows of groundnut leaves. So the groundnut leaves are very sketchy. So sometimes you think you're hiding under the shadow of the groundnut leaves, but we can see everything. And that's what Tangatanga are trying to do by bringing this issue of Vijana fire. And it's figurative, it's been used the whole time, it has been explained, so there's really nothing there. Okay. I think they should look for something else to hide under, you know, because what they have mastered in is, whenever, like right now, what Senator Kangata was saying here is, you know, Linturi was wrong, but he wasn't quite wrong compared to so-and-so. Linturi was wrong, period. Don't look for any excuses. He should face the law. He should not be, you know, we should not see Tangatanga MPs trying to, you know, be apologetic for Linturi being arrested and so on. He was wrong.
Okay, all right. And of course, Honorable Mweke, before you came on air, you said something about Governor Kimemia not being arrested, and also Senator Kangata referred to it. I've just looked at the clip and it talks about kama kuna madoadoa katika Jubilee, wakati umefika waondolewe ndio Kenya iendelee mbele. So I want you, as you respond, to also reflect on that, on whether it should be applied the same way, or is the problem the madoadoa, or what is being said, or the political rallies. But in the end, of course, Kenyans have reacted to what happened in Eldoret. What are your responses and reactions to what's happening?
Yeah, thank you, Sam, and good morning again, viewers. This issue has taught us many things. Number one is that if you make a mistake, you apologize. And you also put it into context and explain what you really meant. What we have learned is, yes, Senator Linturi used a wrong word, madoadoa. But he has come out and explained that what he meant was six-piece voting. He was saying, listen, we are an UDA zone. We know what UDA stands for, the bottom-up economic model. We know that UDA believes in the future. Can we all vote for a UDA candidate in this region? From the top all the way to the MCA seat. And he has said that. And he's come out again unreservedly and said, if I used a wrong word or the wrong language, figuratively, like Honorable Wanga is saying, then I apologize and I regret. And I think that has taught us something as Kenyans, that if you make a mistake, even if you're a politician of what standing, you should be able to come out, own up, and say, let's move on. The second thing this has taught us is real good leadership that the DP has shown. You know, Sam, when you're a good leader, when things are nice and rosy and going well, a good leader leads from the back, allows his or her troops to shine, gives them to take credit and to bask in the glory. But when things are thick, a good leader comes and captains the ship and steadies it. And that's what the DP did yesterday. The DP came out and said, listen, one of my troops said something that has upset the country, says something that could have harmed our cohesion, and I apologize as the leader of this ship. And that's what leadership is about. Now, if you contrast this to the other team, we have not seen the Azimio team apologize for stoning the deputy president in Kondele. We've not seen anybody apologize and take ownership for what happened to Dennis Itumbi, just because he's in Tangatanga or he's in a team that believes in the future. We have not seen anybody come out and apologize for what Kimemia has said.
Who was responsible for the stoning in Kondele?
Well, it was the people from that region who said that only people should come here and they must have been under instructions. We're in politics.
Whose instructions?
Know. We don't know whose instructions.
So who,
but we're in politics and we know. Well, you have to look at track records. Why is it only that you cannot go and campaign in Kisumu if you're not from Kisumu? Why is it only that when you go to Kibera and you're against their leader, they stone you and they chase you?
Is that factual, that you can't campaign in Kisumu if you're not from that region?
Well, people get stoned. And we've seen it. The deputy president has been every corner of this country. He only got stoned in Kondele.
That's what I'm asking, because you're saying that the other side...
How come people have not apologized for that?
Who
And these
is
are
to
some of the
apologize?
things
That's
we
what
are
I'm asking.
supposed to say.
Just hold on.
No, nobody has
what
come
I'm asking is, because you're telling me you don't know who is responsible. So who is that who is supposed to come and apologize?
The people who paid those youth... The
profiling that you saw, the profiling that you saw with Madoadoa in Eldoret is the same profiling you're hearing here. And this is
the thoughts are mine.
Let's allow him to...
The thoughts are mine.
It is the same profiling
just
of the Tanga
allow him to make his point.
Profiling of the country.
Okay.
And anyway, I want to come back to that, but he can continue.
But
the profiling must stop.
Okay.
The thoughts are mine, and everybody must be allowed to have their opinion. That is why we are balanced. That's what I'm asking,
so that we are sure of accountability here on Citizen TV.
Yes.
When you say that somebody needs to apologize for stoning the DP's motorcade, who do you want to apologize?
Whoever sent those youth to stone the DP's motorcade. I don't know who they are. So I won't be able to point a finger and say who is this, but we are looking at a trend that in a region, actually, they call it bedroom. Hii ni bedroom ya baba, hakuna mtu anaweza ingia hapa bedroom ya baba. That in itself is excitement. And they say it openly everywhere. Kibera, hii ni bedroom ya baba, hakuna mtu anastahili kukuja hapa. So when you go there, they stone you. But nobody apologizes.
You also said something that somebody should apologize for what happened to Dennis Itumbi.
Correct.
Do you know who is responsible?
Oh, I don't know who is responsible. But how come nobody has been arrested? And some, these are the things we are raising that are very fundamental. Because really, it looks like we have two sets of laws, and we are seeing that trend. We have a set of law for the people who believe in the past and are selling history, and we have a set of laws for people like us and the UDA team who believe in the future and want to secure the future for our young people. So when you see Raila Odinga say fire, nothing happens. When you see Junet Mohammed stand on a microphone and say wakikuja hapa wachome, nothing happens. When you see Kimemia say, hawa ni madoadoa, waondoe, nothing happens. But when Lunturi says something,
that's what I say.
Something happens.
Please make me understand.
It looks like the law is being put selectively, which in itself is divisive, because now you're telling the country that if you're in this team, you can do whatever you want and there are no consequences. And if you're in this team, you can do whatever you want and you get away with it. And that's what we must call out and say must stop.
Honorable Mweke, I attended that event, just a little, Dr. Chris.
Yes.
I attended that event of Raila Odinga's birthday at the Bomas of Kenya. It was on Friday, I believe, and he said something. Nataka vijana wote washiriki, wawe wanajeshi wa baba. Wawe na silaha na risasi. Baba akiwa amiri jeshi mkuu akisema forward march, munafuata. Vijana fire, vijana fire. So please make me understand what is off with that statement and why he should be investigated or arrested. Plus, Kimemia saying, kama kuna madoadoa katika Jubilee wakati umefika waondolewe, Kenya iendelee mbele.
Okay. Now, in the same context, can you please read for me what Linturi said?
No, just hold on, just respond to the question.
No, read for me so that you can see that they are all having the same connotation. So you've read what Raila said, read what Linturi, what Kimemia said. Now read what Linturi said, and then you explain to me why have they arrested Linturi.
This is not an argument. I'm asking a question. I'm helping you to explain to the Kenyans.
So whatever Linturi said has been construed as incitement. We don't know. He's been arraigned in court. We'll allow the courts to be able to make that judgment. They'll review the clip, and the courts are competent enough, they will be able to make a judgment on whether what Linturi said amounts to incitement or hate speech. Now, why I was asking you to read what Linturi said is so that the viewers can see that what Raila said, what Linturi said, and what Kimemia said can be construed to mean the same thing of hate speech. So what we are asking as leaders in this country is how come when some people say something that can be construed as hate speech, they get away with it, while others, because they're aligned to a camp, they get arrested. So we're just saying, can the law apply equally across the board?
Okay.
But as I finish, Sam, I think what is now most important...
I'll get back to you because
no, just as I finish.
You have not answered my question.
I have. I've answered your question.
I've asked you a question, what Raila Odinga said and what Kimemia said, to tell me what is offside.
What is offside is all of them, and I answered it. You are just not listening. I think you are concentrating on your machine. But what I said is, what all of those three said were construed to be hate speech, were construed to be incitement to violence. Vijana, fire is fire a gun. Violence. Madoa Ondoa is saying anybody who is not like us in this area, get out. But it is construed. It is the courts that agree and decide whether it is incitement or hold on, Sam. You see, you're asking me a question, then you don't allow me to answer. So it is construed, and then the courts are the ones who are supposed, the police investigate, and the courts are supposed to be able to make the final ruling on whether it was hate speech or incitement. Now, what we are saying is, when people are saying these things that are construed to be incitement and hate speech, some of them are investigated and sent to court, and others are not.
Okay.
What we are asking is why. My most important point, though, is when a mistake has been done, a mistake that is this grave, using use of words that could incite the country to violence, or that could exclude certain communities out of areas while we are supposed to be inclusive. Once that has been done and somebody has apologized, really we should not be belaboring it.
Okay.
We should move on. In actually other countries who are serious, even the media gives that a complete blackout. But what we are seeing here is completely wrong. We are seeing our opponents fueling the fire. We are seeing our opponents adding more kerosene to the fire so that you can incite people further.
I hear you, Honorable Mweke.
You should put that thing under the carpet, forget about it completely, and listen to the words of the Deputy President that we are one united country.
That's fine. I don't know how we should do that, yet the Deputy President is also condemning it. But Dr. Chris Omalwa, I mean, what are your reflections about this? Because, I mean, with that season that a lot of things get said, some of them quite insensitive. Or is it sensitive? What are your reflections this morning?
Yeah, thank you, Sam, very much for having me here. I watched News of Citizen yesterday night at 9. And after that, there are people who came on the show. And when I listened carefully, I almost cancelled my coming this morning. And one of the victims said, it's very unfortunate that when such an incident has happened, we are seeing politicians, leaders, talk show, talking about it. It hurts us more. It opens our old wounds. This gentleman is now, I think, coordinator of IDPs, somebody Mushina or something, I can't remember the name very well. And I want to bring to the attention of the words in the Bible, in the book of James, in chapter 3, verse 5. The Bible says, the tongue is a small thing, but it can do enormous damage. Those are the words of the Bible. I also want to quote the words of Pope Francis when it comes to prayer, that a prayer is very powerful when we ask for peace in the world and peace in your heart. At a time like this, when we are moving towards the general election, how I wish that as we come to talk here, we talk in a theme of reconciliation, as opposed to focusing more on division. And it's true, we condemn the words that my friend had used. Linturi has been my personal friend when I joined Parliament with him in the PIC committee. And he was a very lovely guy. In fact, when I heard about that, and particularly me who comes from a cosmopolitan county, we cannot say such words. And we know very well the 207, 208, and people who watch the proceedings in the ICC, the word madoadoa was heavily used. In my county where I come from, when you come out with such a word, people get scared. So really, the way forward, one thing I want to appreciate the apology. And I've read books about Margaret Lee Ranberger, and this is an American author who writes about motivation and leadership. And she says, an apology is like a lovely perfume that can transform the clumsiest moment to a gracious gift. And Deputy President mentioned about the apology. I want to salute him for that. And when I listened, I tried to call Honorable Lindika Minduri. I could not get him. But I met one of the honorable members who were in the rally, and we tried to discuss when we were at the airport. And they tried to explain to me the issue of the 6-piece voting, that was the context in which he mentioned the issue of the 6-piece. When we are here, I want us to speak objectively. And I also want Mweke to know, because at that time I think we were with him in the same coalition, if I remember very well, when Raila Odinga used the words ID and voter's card, when he talked about the gun and the bullet. Actually, Raila Odinga referred to what Honorable Wanga said, and we were with him. I was in the NASA coalition, and it was a clarion call to call upon the youth to actually come out in large numbers, also to register as voters. So let's debate objectively for purposes of bringing unity in this country. Let's not discuss issues that maybe will lead to a lot of division. And I humbly request my colleagues, if they watched yesterday when this guy was speaking on TV, when he said we lost livelihoods, people were raped, we lost lives, we have not even healed, have not even gone back. But when I see politicians talking about this issue, it reminds us of going back to the old wounds. So how I wish that you direct this discussion, and let's be reconciliatory as opposed to the divergence views that might not go down very well with the victims of post-election violence, as per yesterday's request by this gentleman on your Citizen TV. Okay,
all right. And of course, it was a very moving conversation last night with Trevor, and of course, some of the victims that suffered the post-election violence of 2007, rather. And Senator Kangata, as we exit from this conversation, so because we have such a long way to go, the 7 months that we have, so much competition is going to come on board. How do we then ensure that yourselves as politicians are able to check what you exactly say and look at the context, so that you don't have to have this argument or discussion about what you meant or what you didn't mean?
Yes, of course, definitely. It's upon each leader to be responsible, to be peace-loving, to ensure he utters good words. We ensure we unite Kenyans. We bring peace, and all our campaigns are geared towards uniting Kenyans as opposed to dividing them. And therefore, I strongly urge all leaders that Kenya is greater than any individual. It is more important that we save Kenya and advance a peaceful country that is not only good for us, but even best for our children who will bequeath Kenya once we are gone out of this world.
Okay, all right. Honorable Wanga, your closing remarks, because I think you've also been previously mentioned in some allegations. I don't know how that case was concluded, but what now do...
Which allegation?
I think there was a matter that had been summoned by NCS. I don't remember what it was exactly about.
Nothing to do with hate speech. I've never spoken anything hate speech.
But there was something that, I think it was in 2017, it was something you said about the president or such a thing. But what then must yourselves as political leaders do?
First of all, what I would like to point out to Mr. Mweke is the profiling that he has done to a certain group. I happen to come from Nyanza region, and I also know that after celebrations of I think it was Madaraka Day, the deputy president passed by the same Kondele, and he was received overwhelmingly by the people of Kondele there. The deputy president has been to Homa Bay, the deputy president has been to Migori, the deputy president has been all those places. He has never been stoned. He was stoned in, there was a lot of chaos in Murang'a, for example, on a certain day when the deputy president was there. Tires were being burnt all over the place. Why have those people not been profiled? Why is this profiling of, the deputy president has never been stoned in Kibra, for example, but why is he bringing Kondele and then bringing Kibra and profiling the Luo community as violent. It is unacceptable, and he will not just go with that kind of profiling and leave this show after profiling people in Eldoret and come and profile the Luo community on this show and just walk out of here. And that is the profiling of Tanga Tanga. And that is the profiling that is unacceptable. And that is the profiling that we cannot allow. And that is the reason why we are talking about Azimio la Umoja. So just to allow him to profile people on this show and walk out and say somebody should have apologized, I don't know, whatever, and to come to Kondele and mix it up with Kibra and bring them together as violent people, truly unacceptable. Those very people he's profiling are the people who put him in office as Nairobi Deputy Governor, which he served for 5 years. It is unacceptable what Honorable Mweke has done, and I think he should withdraw those profiling sentiments. But having said that, what I'd like to say is agree with Honorable Wamalo and Senator Kangata that we only have one country. Let's watch what we say, and let's move this country forward together. And that is why we believe in Azimio la Umoja.
Honorable Wanga.
Yes, can I also say something? Just
yes,
one.
Yes.
Yeah, from where I sit, I think Kenyans have a duty also to also support leaders who don't incite, who don't support violence. I say so because I know of my good friend who became very popular after fighting in Parliament. And that friend of mine is about to be elected a very major seat. Yeah, it's something that we need to check going forward.
Who's that?
No need of mentioning that friend of mine.
No, just raised it.
No, it would be very...
Speaking about.
No, I'm just saying it is important. Kenya should... We should not...
well, Honorable Mweke is here, so I'll give you a right of reply because, Honorable Wanga, I'm not sure I had him profile the Luo community.
Absolutely.
But anyway, you're here. Make your response.
Yeah, I think you had right. I didn't profile the Luo community. And you all know me, and Kenyans all know me. I'm one of very pragmatic citizens who always believes in doing the right thing. And what I was saying is the right thing is if something happens to one person who belongs to a certain part of the political divide, then action should be taken equally across the board. What I was saying, and I think Honorable Wanga was very, very clear, that there should not be two sets of laws. And we have seen it over and over again. With the Kibera and the Moranga and the Dennis Itumbi and the Kondele incidences, my point was, why hasn't anybody apologized for a wrongdoing? Why haven't investigations been carried out? Why I'm responding, you know. If we all agree that stoning in Kondele was wrong, yeah, who has been arrested? Who has been arraigned in court? Who has apologized for it?
There's actually an official of the Kisumu County government who was taken to court.
Okay.
He was charged, released on bond. I'm not certain about the facts after that, but there's someone who was arrested for those cases.
Did they apologize for it? Yes. So that was my point around this. I was talking about leadership, and exactly what Honorable Wamalo was saying is in the Bible, that if a mistake is made somewhere, you should take leadership and apologize. And if there's consequences, because we have one set of laws for all Kenyans in this country, if there's consequences for somebody who has done something wrong, can those consequences apply across the entire board?
She has asked a fair question. What happened in Kibera?
Why was Kibera part of this conversation? If it's not for profiling purposes.
I think why I was mentioning Kibera, and maybe some you can check because you're fact-checking us and putting us all in check, which I really support, is I saw a clip somewhere of Junet Mohammed saying if they come here, ban them. Choma.
I have it here, by the way.
If they come here, choma. And it was in Kibera, right? Yeah. So again, Gladys Wanga, I just don't go around saying anything. I like to speak with facts. I'm able to back my facts, and I'm a true Kenyan who believes in inclusivity, and that's why I'm saying if somebody has done something wrong, charge them. If somebody on the other side does something wrong, also charge them. Because we are one Kenya, and we should all be treated the same.
I hear you.
On hate speech, Sam, this is my thing. I think I've been consistent enough about the law. The law is what binds us together as Kenyans. And there's a very clear law that says that if you are involved in hate speech, right, if you're involved in incitement, if you're involved in electoral offenses, then you should not be able to run for an election. And that is something that I would want to support as a Kenyan and as a political leader, so that we keep all ourselves as politicians.
Unfortunately, Honorable Mweke,
yes.
we were told by the IEBC sometime last year
yes.
That they cannot implement the election code of conduct until that time that they gazette the start of the election period, which should happen sometime in March. So really, I'm not certain IBC can do anything as of now, unless it gets to the point of clearance, and EACC has something to say about yourselves as you go to seek clearance. Unfortunately, again, you must have been convicted and exhausted all avenues of appeal. So it leaves us in a very serious situation. We take a short break.
But what I'm saying is that those are some of the things we should change.
All right.
And those laws should, if they're not strong enough, they should go to Parliament so that there can be consequences to people's action. Because what we are saying, like Honorable Kangata has said, there's somebody who was fighting in Parliament and now could be elected. Those are some of the things that we must put to stop, so that we follow Chapter 6 of our Constitution on leadership and integrity.
And of course, just here to indicate that we also know that there's been an order to investigate the Kitutu Chache South Member of Parliament, Richard Onyonko, for some sentiments he made. I think it was on the same day of the Eldoret rally, or maybe a day after. And of course, he spoke and said that he didn't say anything that was insightful or related to hate speech. Unfortunately, we can't run those clips because of what they contain and the suspicion that they may be part of what the investigators are looking at. So we take a short break here. When we come back, we will speak about what is just about to happen at the Senate this morning as the special sitting begins to consider that contentious political parties amendment bill of 2021. Stay tuned.